Hi everybody, I'm Kate, Regency Social Responsibility Manager. First of all, I'd like to thank you for joining this meeting. I'm really excited to introduce you to the Social Responsibility Pledge and invite you to be a part of it by setting its priorities and directing Regency's investment in corporate accountability. I really want to encourage all of you, our clients, partners, brokers, and staff, to share your thoughts, to tell us about your experiences and passions, and to participate in its development so that we can call it ours. I'll let you know how you can participate at the end. But to start, let me give you an overview of where we are. I think the best way to start describing our approach to social responsibility would be to split it into two parts. Firstly, looking at ourselves and our own activities, we need to ensure that Regency is operating to the highest standards and mitigating risk. For example, climate change is a critical challenge currently. Have we satisfied ourselves that Regency is doing everything in its business operations to reduce carbon emissions? Secondly, pushing the boundaries of Regency's philanthropic activity, going beyond just giving, to working in partnerships with local communities, to create together sustainable solutions that will help overcome social, economic, and environmental challenges together. So today, I'm going to introduce to you a bit more detail on the framework we are working to, describe our vision for our community support and development work, share with you my initial research on some of the biggest challenges we currently face globally, and finally, explain how you can join us and be a part of our journey. So, we follow the guiding principles of the United Nations Global Compact as our framework for action. The UN Global Compact is the most internationally pioneering initiative. Formed in 2000, it's the world's largest approach to corporate sustainability, followed by over 12,000 businesses, NGOs, and public sector organisations in over 160 countries. Regency joins them in our commitment to taking action on the 10 principles of the United Nations Global Compact. The 10 principles of the Global Compact focus on 4 key pillars that include respecting and promoting universal human rights, decent work practices, reducing our environmental impact, and ensuring zero incidents of corruption. For this pledge to have the greatest impact, Regency has committed to including these principles in every part of the business, into their strategy, their culture, and their operations. This has set the benchmark for the performance we strive for within our operations and also within our wider sphere of influence. We will set clear objectives and smart goals with any activity to ensure that we can measure its impact. We will also take a reflective approach, actively seeking feedback to strengthen our model as we progress. Beyond the overarching framework I've just talked you through, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development was adopted by all 193 member states of the United Nations in 2015. After consulting with millions of people over several years about what was a priority for them in their communities, the 17 goals for us to achieve as a global community by the year 2030 were set. These goals are universal and apply to every country, ensuring no one is left behind. Whilst my background and experience is working for the last 17 years in the charity sector across Europe and Asia, I know that in the same way the UN approached setting 17 goals through wide consultation, it's key that we hear from you, the Regency community, as we will gain a lot from your experiences. So as I go through these goals, please feel free to make a mental note of which ones you feel most passionate about and those which we should prioritise, because I really want to hear from you. Okay, so starting with goal number 1, no poverty. Over 10% of the global population are currently living in extreme poverty, surviving on just $1.90 a day. Goal 2, zero hunger. In 2019, it was estimated that 8.9% of the global population faced hunger. Number 3, good health and well-being. The targets for the UN 2030 agenda are wide-ranging, and some progress has been made since 2000. Targets for this goal include achieving universal health coverage, financial risk protection, access to quality essential healthcare services, and access to safe, effective and affordable essential medicines and vaccines for all. Number 4, quality education. It's every child's right to learn. Having access to quality education not only builds a strong foundation for a child's future, but it also has positive knock-on effects on society. Developing a skilled workforce for the future contributes towards economic growth. Number 5, gender equality. The UN Secretary General said this year that gender equality is the unfinished human rights struggle of this century. Gender equality was made part of the International Human Rights Law in 1948. Many women and girls around the world still do not fully experience equal rights. 6, clean water and sanitation. It's shocking that currently 2 billion people lack safely managed drinking water. And so one target for 2030 is to achieve universal and equitable access to safe and affordable drinking water for all. 7, affordable and clean energy. Indoor air pollution is caused by burning solid fuel sources. In 2017, the Global Burden of Disease Study estimated that 1.6 million people died that year as a result of indoor air pollution. Next, decent work and economic growth. Informal employment represents 60% of the global workforce. It's now estimated that over 3/4 of the people in that group have been significantly impacted by the pandemic and are now at high risk of falling into poverty. That's 1.6 billion people. Number 9, industry, innovation and infrastructure. Mobile networks reach almost 90% of urban residents, but less than 30% in rural areas. In 2019, it was estimated that almost 300 million rural dwellers lack access to roads. Number 10, reduced inequalities. Inequalities be it in income or wealth or opportunity or any other aspect, continue globally. Data from 44 countries between 2014 and 2020 shows that almost 1 in 5 people have reported personally experiencing discrimination on at least one of the grounds prohibited under international human rights law. Goal number 11, sustainable cities and communities. About 3.5 billion people live in cities. This number is expected to rise to 5 billion by 2030. Cities occupy only 3% of the Earth's land area, but are responsible for between 60 and 80% of energy consumption and 75% of carbon emissions. Urban overcrowding results in 828 million people living in slums. Number 12, responsible consumption and production. Unsustainable consumption and production is linked to the current challenges we face with pollution, climate, and biodiversity. As of 2016, 14% of food produced globally was lost before it reached the retail sector. Goal 13, climate action. Scientific evidence presented by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change in early August 2021 emphasised the urgent need to accelerate action if we hope to achieve the goal of limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. Number 14, life below water. The quality of marine life is slowly declining due to human behaviour, an abundance of disposable plastic, and an increased carbon footprint. 60% of plastic waste comes from 5 countries alone, now being found at 36,000 feet inside the Mariana Trench, which is the deepest trench on Earth. Next, life on land. The Global Footprint Network reflects that it takes the Earth 1 year and 8 months to regenerate what we use in a year. In 2 decades, the world has lost 100 million hectares of forest, and 22% of animals are at risk of extinction. Number 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. We still have a long way to go to achieve the goal of peaceful, just, and inclusive societies across the globe. The pandemic has increased children's risk of exploitation. For example, in 2020, the number of children subjected to child labour rose for the first time in 2 decades to 160 million. Goal number 17, partnership for the goals. The pandemic has stressed the need for partnership working more than ever to ensure recovery across the globe and continued investment towards the previous 16 goals I've just talked you through. By coming together and forging partnerships, it will enable us to act on a larger scale, influencing longer-term sustainability with maximum positive impact. As you can now see, the challenges facing us globally are vast, multiple, and combining. As our partner in this endeavour, we really want to hear which 10 goals resonate most with you as an individual and/or as a business. These will shape our future pledge and investment. A survey will be sent out to all attendees of this webinar, where you can select your chosen 10. I would really appreciate any responses to this and to hear ideas from you. So please feel free to contact me at csr@regencyassurance.com with comments, suggestions, feedback. I look forward to embarking on this journey with you and coming together to do what we can to help tackle the biggest challenges of our times. Building a brighter future, making a difference together.